Republican frontrunner Donald Trump skipping the next primary debate. Once again, will attempt his own counter-programming. The former president planning to travel to Detroit on September 27th to give a primetime speech before current and former union members. It comes as thousands of auto workers are currently on strike against General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis. The Trump campaign even considering having Trump make an appearance on the picket lines. But the United Auto Workers Union is not welcoming the move, writing in a statement, quote, "Every fiber of our union is being poured into fighting the billionaire class and an economy that enriches people like Donald Trump at the expense of workers. We can't keep electing billionaires and millionaires that don't have any understanding what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck." So Shawn Fain, Joe, the president of the UAW, has been publicly critical, not just recently, but in the past, of Donald Trump. The union has not endorsed Joe Biden as yet in this case. Jonathan, actually, I'll kick this to you. And so Donald Trump, in his Meet the Press interview on Sunday, went after the leadership of the UAW. So there is a personal element to this. But again, Donald Trump trying to do something to create his own show away from the debate, just as he did last time.
Yeah, this is a real general election play by Donald Trump on two levels. First of all, to suggest, hey, I'm too big to even participate in the Republican primary debates. I don't need to. I skipped the last one. My poll numbers only went up. By some measures, he's up 40, 50 points on the next highest Republican. So he's sending that signal. But he's also making a move here about the November 2024 map. Of course, that's Michigan. That's Detroit. These are union workers. And yes, you were right. Shawn Fain on our air a couple of weeks ago, the head of the UAW, was deeply critical of Donald Trump. He was again in that statement. It's clear that the leadership of that union is not going to back Trump, but Trump people in his orbit believe that a lot of rank and file just might. They feel like these are working class voters, white working class voters, where Trump has had some success. We know the UAW has not backed President Biden just yet, although most other unions have. They certainly anticipate. White House officials tell me they think that they will. The president has also spoken very positively about the striking workers there. But, Joe, this is an interesting maneuver by Trump to sort of put forth what's going to be a central conflict, electoral conflict, as we head into next fall.
Yeah, I mean, union workers have traditionally, they've organized Democratic and they voted Republican a lot. Working class voters have voted. I even remember going back to when I was running in '96. I was attacking unions that were attacking some of my friends in other races. And a guy came in to me, was fixing my phone, and he said, "Hey, Congressman, if you just keep your mouth shut, you're going to get everybody's vote in the union." I was like, "Yes, sir." And there was an eye-opener for me. But, Katty Kay, that was the play Donald Trump made in 2016. You'll remember near the end of the campaign, they moved forward with really, really populist messaging at the end of the campaign. And he even met with a couple of, I think, steelworker unions at the beginning of his presidency. I thought that was the direction that he might be going in. It would cause a real problem for Democrats. But then, of course, he had the biggest giveaways to billionaires ever with his Trump tax cuts, and he never looked back. But this meeting and this push is absolutely critical if he wants to win back Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I mean, he knows where these races are going to be won or lost and where his chances of winning the White House, potentially even of staying out of jail, are going to be won or lost. And it's up in those states which are heavily union. I have a really clear memory of in Ohio in 2016 of spending time in a steel town in northern Ohio and talking to union members who had been lifelong Democrats, lifelong union members, and had switched parties in order to vote for Donald Trump because they so liked his populist message. They liked the anti-China message. They liked the fact that Donald Trump broke with Republican economic orthodoxy and said that he was going to shore up the welfare programs that they liked, the social safety net that they liked. So there's a lot about Donald Trump that I imagine that they could still find appealing, and it's a bold move to be going to Michigan in the middle of this strike, but it's not one that's uncharacteristic of him.
Yeah, and Elise, you know through your focus groups that people are so less ideological than we on TV claim they are, or people in the news try to put them into a box. I've retold this story time and again about your Trump voter in Georgia that when you brought up abortion said, "Wait a second, I'm a man. Why would I be concerned with that?" I said, "Oh, okay, there's a great example." But another A great example is the fact that, the New York Times and other outlets reported near the end of the 2016 campaign about the Trump-Sanders voters, people who would have voted for Bernie Sanders if he had made it through the Democratic primary, but instead switched from Sanders to Donald Trump because of populism, just like, much to the chagrin of the Kennedy family, so many followers of Bobby Kennedy's campaign in '68 switched to George Wallace after Bobby was shot.
You see those moments where these issues on the far right, the far left, they just cross-cut, and then those voters come together. And sometimes when you have voters in focus groups who are shifting from, say, being a Hillary voter in 2016 to then going to Donald Trump in 2020, you say, they're confused, they've gotten radicalized. With the Trump-Sanders voters, you saw where Donald Trump really tapped into something that other Republican leaders hadn't understood, that the populist forces taking over the party, that was the emerging future of the party. And, his speech, choosing to do that counter program and to, be pro auto workers in Detroit, that is a good move for Donald Trump. It separates him from the rest of the Republican pact. It makes him look less business friendly and less for CEOs pay and more for the rank and file man. You look at how J.D. Vance has just chosen to write an op-ed in support of the workers. This is a dramatic shift from where elite Republicans have been for so long, and Donald Trump is really just continuing to firm up his grasp on that part of the Republican electorate.